doesn't really help that I'm eating crisps. But let's make this work. So, let's get rich together. Hi everyone, today's video is going to be all about how to grow wealth, and it's inspired by the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. So I recently read this book, and may I say it is one of the best finance books that I've read out there. And I definitely think the principles contained in this book are important for just growing wealth in general, and also just for life really, I guess, if you're into savings and you just want to have money. So that's exactly what we're going to go through in this video. The principles highlighted in them, and just go into a little bit more information just for you to understand. So let's dive right into that. Was really bad. The most important principle that they talk about in this book is about the 10%. And what they say about the 10% is you need to pay yourself, or like I like to call me tax, the first 10% of your paycheck, and put that into an account or put it aside or wherever where you won't actually touch it or spend it on anything. So now the first mistake I made with this 10% was I thought, you know what, this 10% is probably like my savings, isn't it? So I'm just gonna put it aside into my savings account, and then, you know, at some point I'm gonna spend it and whatnot. But no, cut that all out. That 10% is your wealth. I was telling someone about this the other day, explaining to him all the principles and so on and so forth, and he actually helped me to understand that that 10% is actually your wealth. That 10% is what's going to work for you, keep multiplying, and your wealth is pretty much going to grow from that. So you don't want to spend your wealth just yet, because it's your wealth, you know? You want to make sure that you are paying yourself the first 10% of every paycheck, regardless of how much it is. Take it out, put it into that account, and then only live on the 90% that is remaining. Essentially, that means you need to learn how to live below your means and living under your budget. So a lot of people might be thinking like, I cannot live underneath my budget. I've got this to pay, I've got that to pay, I've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You know what? Think about it this way. Everyone in the world has a different budget that they call a necessity. Your necessity is actually relative to the amount of income you get. So say, for example, me, I get X amount of income. Within my X amount of income, I consider my music subscriptions and necessities. And those things to me, they are important. But you know, to my sister, those things are not important. So she then alters her budget and her necessities to what she regards as important, according to the amount of income that she gets per month. Now say if my income changes or her income changes, there are some things that I'm gonna cut out and be like, nah, I can't be spending money on that. So if you then learn to just live off that 90%, essentially just decreasing your budget, you will definitely find a way to live off that 90%, just as you would if you were to get a pay cut. You see what I mean? And to think that you're doing it really to just get more wealth, I personally would. And if you're watching this video, I hope you would too. So then what do you do with that 10%? Rule number 3, make your money multiply. So in this book, it talks about your money basically working for you just as like a slave or a maid. That slave then labors day and night for you, and that slave would then essentially have kids, and those kids would then also labor day and night for you, and they would have grandkids, and those grandkids would also labor, so on. In the same principle, you need to put your money to labor and make sure that your money then multiplies for you, and then the money that comes from that also works for you and multiplies, and the money that comes from that also multiplies, and so on and so on and so forth and so forth. If you're wondering what exactly does it mean to put this money into labor and make it multiply, simple. Start investing. So that is simply talking about putting your money into an investment, which can happen in many different ways and forms. You can invest in, say, forex, stocks, bonds. You can even sometimes you can even get dividends from your investment, which is really, really good. That money, basically, you're putting it somewhere, you're putting it into work rather than letting it sit in a bank. Making your money just sit in a bank is not the best way to do it, although you earn interest, but it's not as much as you would earn if you were actually putting that money to work and investing in something. So that's why investing is key, and it talks about that in this book, that putting your money into work is one of the amazing ways to just gain wealth. But in investing and putting your money into work, it leads us to rule number 4. Seek advice and wisdom of experienced people who are competent enough to give you that right wisdom and advice. Do not invest on the advice of someone that is not experienced in that field. This might seem quite obvious to a lot of us, isn't it? But I mean, like, no offense, but if your uncle is like, yeah, you should put money into gold. Gold is doing pretty well. But does your uncle invest in gold though? Does he know about gold though? Does he though? Does he really know what he's talking about? Or is it just that he read the latest news that was on the Underground magazine that you get for free? I forgot the name, but you know what I'm talking about. That magazine. That magazine. You need to seek advice from people who are experienced enough and competent enough to give you the advice in that area. Don't just throw away your investments. Equally, do your research before you invest. Do not just invest in something that you kind of like get a hang of and you kind of feel like, this might be cool. No. One of the rules as well, it says that money flees from those who don't invest wisely. So you need to make sure that you actually know what you're doing when you do. Otherwise, the money is just really gonna slip away from you like this is not the right motion I should be doing because this means getting money, but you know what I mean. The money is just literally going to slip away from you and you don't want that to happen. So invest wisely and seek advice from wise people who are competent in their experience and in their profession to give you the right words and advice for that investment. Rule number 5. Make dwelling a profitable investment. This rule is really all about making sure that you own your house. You want to own the crib that you live in because you know that this is my dwelling place. This is a dwelling place for me, for my family, for my kids. When I go, for my grandkids, for their kids, and so on and so forth. This is our dwelling place because we own it. The book actually talks about the importance of taking a mortgage and paying a mortgage. You're actually paying that little bit of your ownership for that house, which is the end term goal, isn't it? So by the end of it, once the mortgage is done, you have the whole house and it's all yours, as opposed to just paying rent where really you're just paying and you're not really going to get anything at the end. Number 6, make sure that you have a secure future income for retirement. That is key. So this just means you need to make sure that you have a savings put together for when you retire, so you can still provide and take care of your family and your kids and your grandkids, but I guess that's really all just a family. One thing that I kind of want to point out between this having your secure income for the future and also the 10% is that the 10% is your wealth and the secure income for the future is your savings. And me personally, you can choose how you like to do it, but me personally, I don't want to mix the two. So I actually have my 10% that is my wealth that I put aside, and I have my 10% that I put into my savings every month. So essentially, and I do my tithes as well, and essentially I genuinely live off about 70% of my income. You can choose how you want to do this, whether you want to like mix your wealth and your savings, but really I wouldn't recommend you doing that, purely because the wealth is what you want to be constantly be putting into investing or into however form you choose to make that money multiply. And I don't really want my savings to be involved in that, because my savings is something separate. It's something that I can just play with later or have later, and I don't really want to like stop this pool that is creating my wealth, if you see what I mean. It's completely up to you how you want to do it, as long as you do make sure that you have some savings saved up for the future for retirement. It will benefit you and your future family. Number 7, increase your ability to earn. This means make yourself more and more employable, or make yourself more and more competent in your craft so that you can make more money from that. This can be in many different forms. It can be going through education, so becoming really good at particular subjects, specializing in something, or if you just know that you're a good painter, going for painting classes just so you get better and better, or even just practice makes perfect. Just keep practicing, keep going at what it is that your craft is, you're getting better and better in that, putting yourself in a better position to earn more money from your craft and your skill. The book rightly points out that a man's wealth is actually not from all the money that's sat in the bank and in the savings and whatnot. A man's wealth actually comes from their ability to increase their monthly income, their passive income. So that is their ability to have a lot of money or money accumulating per month while they're just sat down doing nothing, and they're still just making money, and that's where their wealth comes from. In the book, the richest man really said, you know, I haven't got anything in my bank really. And they questioned him, how do you have all these things if you don't have anything in your bank? And it's because he gets a very good amount of passive income per month from all his investments and the ways that he then chose to make his money multiply. And equally, this can be applied to us. Our wealth is not from that 10% just sitting in our bank, but our wealth is from increasing our passive income that we get per month. So that is what we all really want to be aiming to doing if you want to grow your wealth. The best way to go about this is by setting tangible goals. So saying to yourself, okay, starting small, I want to be making £100 extra per month. Which ways can I go about getting that extra £100 a month? Find A, B, C, D, E. Okay, I choose B. Start doing B. Next month, okay, I want to earn another £100 a month. How can I go about and do that? Okay, this time I'm going to do C. So now you've got A, B working for you. You've got C working for you. Next time pick A as well. So you've got A, B, C working for you. And you've got this £300 income extra coming in every month. Putting that thinking into action and coming up with tangible goals and results at the same time. That's what you want to be doing. A slave is someone that is working for another person or being a slave to someone else. A free man is someone that is not working or being a slave to someone else. So if you have debt that you owe, say student finance, you're actually a slave to student finance because you still have to work for them essentially. You still gotta pay to them. You gotta pay them. So they don't own you, but they kinda, you know, they have something over you. So you're not actually a free man. So it's about that, students. Don't worry, I'm in the same boat. I got my student debt as well. You then want to be actively finding ways to pay off that loan, paying off the student debt, whatever it is that you want to pay off, so that you can then become a free man and say, you know what, this money that I earn, that's mine. None of it's going anywhere else. I'm not a slave to no one else. They don't have anything over me. I am indeed a free man. Develop the free man's mentality. Don't be a slave to no one. Don't let someone hold anything over you. Do what you gotta do, pay off what you need to pay, and become a free man. And that really is what I consider to be the most important things that came out of this book. It is an absolutely amazing book, and I recommend everyone to read it. I'm one of those people, I reread books whenever I feel like it's something that I can really take away. I take notes, second, third, however many times I read it, I always find something more to add to it. If there's anything that you guys noticed from the book, if you read it, that you feel will be very beneficial, please let me know. If there's anything else that you want me to kind of highlight a lot more about or anything, please do let me know as well. And also if you have any cool books that I could read, because I would love to read cool books too. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's been very beneficial to you, and all the best in growing your wealth. Thank you.